That's it started now.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of Garioch Area Committee, 23rd of June. And we have some June weather for a change, which is good to see. But it might get a bit warm in this room, so we'll be having some breaks, I'm guessing, as we go through the morning. So welcome all. Please note that this meeting will be recorded and published online for public viewing after the meeting. Councillors should only use their microphones when invited to speak and should remain muted at all other times. Members should, if possible, use their video for the whole of the meeting if your connection allows. If members wish to speak on any point, please use the hands up function in the Teams meeting and I will bring you in at the appropriate time. Please do not come in during items unless I invite you to do so. Can I just confirm that all members have been able to access the presentations provided by the committee officer in advance of the meeting? Well, good to go. Can we kill our microphones unless we're going to say yes? Okay. I take it, so everyone's got the information.
Can everybody hear the meeting online?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So can I
Thank
just
you.
have one suggestion? Is it okay for Councillor if I just raises his voice a bit or move closer? Is that okay?
I will enunciate in my best Victorian actor style. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the agenda in front of us, and Alison, can I ask you to take the centre, please?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Councillor Gifford. Well, I can start with Councillor Ewanson has put in an apology. So the Chair today is Councillor Gifford. Councillor Gifford.
Yeah, present.
We have apologies from Councillor Bailey, Councillor Grant,
Present.
Councillor Joji,
Present.
Councillor Keating,
Present.
Councillor Launchy,
Yes, present.
Councillor Mason,
Present.
Councillor McHale,
Good morning, yes, present.
Councillor Miller. With apologies from Councillor Payne, Councillor Reid,
Present.
Councillor Smith.
Present.
With apologies from Councillor Walker, Councillor White. Councillor White, you're on mute.
I'm present. Yes, present. Sorry. My mouse was wriggling around.
That's okay, no problem. Councillor Miller, are you in the meeting yet? So at the moment, we've no reference to Councillor Miller in this. We have Anne Overton, Area Manager, Jill Joss, Senior Solicitor, and Helen Atkinson will be presenting the planning items, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then to declaration of members' interest. Can I ask councillors to use the hands up function to indicate if they wish to indicate an interest or provide a transparency statement? Councillors in doing so should provide the item number and the nature of the declaration, whether they will leave the meeting or remain. No hands going up that I can see. I will make one transparency statement myself with regard to item 7. A number of the letters of representation are from people that I know, but I've made no comment or discussed the application with any of them. And likewise, I know the applicant has been approaching various groups and organisations in Newmarket in advance of this application. And as a member of one of them, that obviously gives me a connection. But we haven't discussed the application in any way, and having applied the objective test, I will remain for this item. Councillor Katie will be delighted to know since he would have to step in. So, I see no other hands going up on that. Thank you very much indeed. Takes us into our equalities duty. So in line with the Council's legal duty under section 149 of the Equality Act 2010, the committee will agree in making decisions that it shall have due regard to the need to eliminate discrimination, harassment and victimisation, advance equality of opportunity between those who share a protected characteristic and those persons who do not share it, and foster good relations between those who share a protected characteristic and the persons who do not share it. Where an integrated impact assessment was provided to consider its contents and take those into account when reaching a decision. Can I ask members if they all agree to take those recommendations into account?
Agreed.
Thank you very much indeed. Item 2B, exec items. It's proposed that we'll take item 9 in private session. Can we agree that, please?
Agreed.
Great. And then moving on to item 3, the minute of the previous meeting. The minute is there to consider for accuracy by those councillors who were present at the last meeting. Can people open the microphones to confirm that is a true minute of the meeting, or put your hand up if you have any comments to make on it?
Agreed.
Okay, all happy with that? In which case, we can get page. Oh, here, bear with me, you double screen. Right. So then, item 5 is Business Services Area Committee Performance Indicators. Sorry, Alison,
Item 4.
I missed you.
Yes.
Oh, getting so ahead of
It's all
myself.
poised and ready.
I was doing so well. Sorry, Alison. Yes, item 4, Statement of Outstanding Business.
Yes, it won't take very long, Chair. There's no update in items 1 and 2. However, just a very quick verbal update in terms of item 3, which is a session that's open to all councillors. We have identified a date of the 31st of August for that in the afternoon following the group meetings. That date has now gone to Scottish Fire and Rescue, so we're currently awaiting whether or not they have that date free, and if that's the case, that will be organised, but it's going to be post-summer.
Okay, that's good to hear. Any comments from anyone about that? We're happy to see that progressing. I'll see those coming back. Very good. Thank you, Alison. Now we come to item 5. Spoiler from earlier. Business Services Area Committee Performance Indicators Report, the year-end progress April 25 to March 26. Council priorities, and we have Mary Beattie here to take us through this report. Mary, good morning. I'll hand over to you.
Good morning, Chair, and thanks for that introduction. So as you've quite rightly said, this report provides the year-end performance position for April 25 to March 26 for business services in the Garioch area, highlighting areas of strong delivery, known pressure points, and the action that business services are taking to manage these. So we have got 15 indicators in front of you. 7 are green and are on track. 1 amber, slightly off target. 1 is red, and that's from the detailed report summary. And there are 7 data only performance indicators. So they don't have targets, they're demand-led services. So I think from these indicators, the overall position is positive, with most indicators on track. Demand pressures are understood within the area of the benefits and the welfare services, and the main areas requiring improvement are already being progressed. So if I can take you through what's going well within customer services, we've got a strong and improving performance. We've got call wait times 4.67 minutes below the 5-minute target that's been set. Call abandonment 11.49%, which is below the 15% target that has been set, and more calls are being handled year on year. So within customer services, performance is strengthened through better digital systems, improved integration, and focused staff support, with residents receiving a more responsive service. If I can take you through benefits processing, so I think it's fair to say that the processing of benefits is consistent despite being under a great deal of pressure. So council tax reduction claims, they're processed on average within 26 days, and that's within the 27-day target. Housing benefits, an average of 22 days, and that's within the 27-day target. And also important are the times taken to process the changes, and they're processed quite quickly. So council tax reduction, an average of 3.64 days versus the 10-day target, and housing benefit, an average of 6.43 days versus the 10-day target. So our processing remains within target despite higher workloads. There's significant changes as a result of universal credit, and we've got wider system pressures within the benefits arena. If I can turn to the property indicators, so on property condition, I think we've got a strong estate position. So buildings in a satisfactory condition, 94.2% across Aberdeenshire. And Garioch actually performs above that average at an average of 95.79%. So the physical condition of the council's estate is strong and above average in Geary and is continuing to improve. If I turn to the main area or the area of challenge for business services, and that's around building suitability, and that's a known area for improvement. So only 83.09% of buildings suitable overall, and Geary is lower at 80%. And I need to stress that this doesn't mean that buildings are unsafe or in a poor physical condition. It actually means that some properties are less well aligned to current services needs, particular legacy facilities such as depots and pavilions. And the new planned depot should make a meaningful contribution to improving that position. So I suppose this is a known legacy issue, and it's being actively managed through asset review, rationalisation and future investment planning. And the director will be bringing forward further data to the next informal business services session with the area committee, covering properties being considered for disposal, retention, together with the timescales and investment planning. So I suppose if I can turn to the rising demand and the main story behind that, and I think this is probably an area to focus on. So discretionary housing payments, the awards have increased to 2,633 in 25-26, and the spend that we've incurred is 1.74 million. We've seen increases in crisis grants, so the number of applications have increased from 4,424 to 4,663, and with that the spend has increased from 463,000 to 595,000. So although the applications the applications have increased and the spend has increased. And then if I turn to community care grants, overall the applications have decreased. The actual spend against those grants has increased. And that means that residents' needs are increasing or becoming more complex, or probably a bit of both. And that's really reflective of the wider economic and cost of living pressures on residents. And it shouldn't be seen as a failure within the benefit service. I suppose, in essence, the report doesn't point to service failure, but it does highlight a number of pressures that will need continued oversight. So budget pressure, we are going to see pressures from demand-led services and wider inflationary costs, and that will impact on our community care grants and our emergency grants that we give out. There is increasing service demand, particularly where residents are struggling financially, and we have, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, a lot of policy and legislative changes that happen within the benefits arena. And I think we've got to be attuned to reputational risk, because demand pressures shouldn't be seen as poor performance. It's more a wider system pressure as a result of the economic conditions that we find ourselves in. So I suppose overall, hopefully, area committee seeing the position as positive, with most indicators on track and the main challenges understood. Customer service access, customer access has improved with strong performance on call handling and reduced waiting times. The increase in grants and payments reflects the financial pressures facing residents, not a deterioration in service performance. Building suitability remains the main area of performance improvement, but it's a known issue and is being taken forward through the asset review and future investment planning. And I suppose if we're taking a forward look, the focus now is to keep a close oversight of demand within the benefits arena and maintain performance and bring forward further detail when members need assurance. I'll leave it there, Chair. Happy to take any questions.
Mary, thank you very much indeed for talking us through the report. I'm sure there'll be some questions, but before we move on, Councillor Miller has joined us. Morning, Craig. Can I just check if you have a declaration of interest and if you accept our equalities duties declaration?
Good morning, Jim. I have no declaration of interest and I accept the equality statement.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Okay, I shall open it up for questions or comments on this paper. Councillor Grant, Murray, your hand's up first.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mary. I was going to ask a question about the crisis grants, which you've partially answered. Looking at the figures, it's about 130k more in this last year than the year before. You mentioned cost of living pressures. Is it generally just down to that, or are there any specific local issues that are exacerbating the need for crisis grant applications and payouts in the Shire? Thanks.
Councillor Grant, oh, sorry, through you, Chair, Councillor Grant, it is just cost of living challenges. We're not seeing anything that anything specific to any one area.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor Keating, David, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, Mary. Just a couple. You said, and I completely agree with you, demand pressure does not equal poor performance, but there's a frequently rehearsed statement of mine that 7 out of 14 data-led doesn't give us any real view of how the teams are performing, because demand pressure does not equal performance assessment at all. So I'm going to try and ask the question a different way this time. How does the operational management assess the performance of the teams? And might we be allowed to share how that performance is assessed? Because at the moment, I can't do anything with data lines. That's my first question. And the second one, and I think you answered it, I'm just going to check I heard you correctly. The percentage of buildings that are suitable, where we're down at 80%, but as you correctly state, we're going through a divestment process. Is the balance that the buildings we're divesting are those that are not suitable for the purposes? Effectively, will the divestment programme bring that percentage up? Thank you.
There you go, Mary. Nice easy ones for you.
Through you, Chair. So in response to your last question first, David, yes, that would be the intention. And as I've said, the director will be bringing back a paper through the informal discussions to Geary, and you will see which buildings are being considered. But yes, that would be the intention. On the benefits performance, so we have statutory deadlines that we have to comply with for community care grants and the emergency grants or the crisis grants. So we have to comply with those timescales. Unfortunately, this is very embarrassing. I don't have those timescales to hand, but we have to comply with those. From the other benefits processing, we do look at where we are against other local authorities, and we balance that against the funding that we have to employ staff. So I think we are round about mid-table for our processing times, although having seen some of the other processing times, we probably could be inching up a little bit. But we will benchmark against other local authorities, and we will do what we can do with the staff that we have available.
Well, thanks, Mary, and I've no problem with you not having to hand numbers that are not actually on your table. That's not a problem. But it's more the question, if there are data points that we could assess against a target and the management have got them, surely that's what should be in a curated set of performance metrics, not a bunch of data lines. Interesting though the data lines are, and they obviously attract a discussion, but that feels to me more like a bulletin or information for the councillors rather than a performance document. That's my point.
Yeah. So it's how do you show to us how you're managing demand on a demand-led data point?
How are the team doing? It's about the performance of the team.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely agree with Mary. Demand pressure does not equal poor performance. It doesn't tell us anything about performance. It's just that's the demand.
Through you, Chair, can I
Well-
take that away? And I'll think, thank you for not putting me on the spot to come up with a solution right now.
Chair, I think that's something we can put forward as a comment if committee is agreed.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed with that.
Okay,
Some nods around the screens there, so
okay.
that's great. Got homework for you, Mary. I know you're always keen for a bit of extra work. Okay, any more thoughts or comments or questions from anyone? No? You're getting off lightly this morning, Mary. You'll be delighted to know. So thank you very much. So the only comment is that last one.
Yes.
That's, we'll take that forward into the minutes and look forward to hearing back from you, Mary, in due course. So again, there's no hands going up, so thank you very much indeed. We'll let
Thank
you
you,
go with the
Chair.
debate. Thank you. Okay, moving on into item 6. I think everybody we need is in the room.
No, it's not. We have one on the telephone who is waiting to come.
I'm talking about our people.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
We have planning officers lined up to go.
Yes.
So, okay, item 6 is full planning permission for extension to Caravan Park, erection of 13 holiday lodges, amenity building, cafe, restaurant, laundry and sanitary facilities, and formation of 12 mobile caravan pitching sites at Hillhead Caravan Park, Kintore, Aberdeenshire, and its application APP 2025-1240. Now, we have a couple of requests to speak on this application, one from the applicant who's with us here in the room, Helen Sutherland, and also an objector, Mr. Callum Fraser. Are members content to hear these requests to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, in that case,
Yes.
can we get Mr. Fraser into the meeting,
And
please?
he's
Alice?
waiting. Hello, Mr. Fraser, are you now in the meeting? Hello, Mr. Fraser.
Hello, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, I will hand you back to the chair.
thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Fraser. Welcome to this meeting. Jim Gifford, I'm chairing the meeting today in Councillor Ewanson's absence. So we'll bring you in at the appropriate time. First, we'll hear from the planning officer, and then the first request to speak, and then we'll come to you. So can I just ask Alison to introduce everyone who's in the meeting today?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We have got the apologies from Councillor Ewanson, Councillor Bailey, Councillor Payne and Councillor Walker. So all other councillors are in the meeting. We have Anne Overton, the area manager, Jill Joss, the senior solicitor, and the application is going to be presented by Helen Atkinson.
Okay, thank you very much. And on that note, Helen, good morning. If you're ready to go, we'll just invite you to talk us through this application.
Yep, thank you, Chair, and good morning, committee. So as we've been introduced, the application is for works to Hillhead Caravan Site near Kintore. The application site is shown in red here, so it's a small scale plan, so apologies for that, but it's shown in red on this slide. And as we know, the site is to the west of Kintore and within the accessible rural area. Slide 3 shows the existing site plan, noting existing caravans here and a touring pitch area here in the blue line. There are open fields to the west of the application site, caravan storage to the south, and there is the bungalow, which is Hillhead Croft on the eastern side boundary, and this is the length of the plot associated with that domestic property. Slide 3 shows the usual aerial view of the application site. So slide 5. So just before we consider the new proposal, just thought it's worth reminding area committee of the planning history. So this is detailed at paragraph 215 of the report before you. Planning permission was refused by area committee in October 24, and there was a subsequent appeal that was also dismissed following that. That application, and that's the layout before you today on this slide, sorry, was for 18 holiday lodges, which were the sort of area here that wrapped around the bottom of the site. There were mobile caravan pitches and an amenity building. So this application was refused by Area Committee on the grounds that the layout would have significant and unacceptable impact on the amenity of the residents of Hillhead Croft. So this slide shows us what was essentially refused 18 months ago. So the new proposal, which is on slide 6 on the screen just now, has been revised. So we have a amenity building here. So this darker rectangle at the top of the site. There's a play area and 8 car parking spaces proposed in there as well. There is this sort of grey line that comes down. That's a sort of what I'm referring to as a spine road. So that links into the existing means in and out of the site. And this spine road comes down. It has a sort of circular area where you can go around here. And it also has a sort of spur, if you like, heading along here. We have 12 touring mobile home type pitches in there. And there are now 13 holiday lodges. So these are the ones with the sort of darker rectangles. And these are positioned in a backward L sort of shape around the spine road. Excuse me. And there is also now this sort of landscaped buffer that bounds Hillhead Croft. So turning to slide 7, just some images of the more permanent features of the development. So this is a proposed amenity building, which would provide typical showering, toilet facilities, a laundry and a cafe area. Slides 8 and 9 show the proposed holiday lodges. Both are 2 bedrooms and both will have a decking area running along the length of the lodges. And slide 10 just shows us the landscaping plan, if we like. So as I said, this is now this wider buffer area here along the boundary, which is around 20 metres in width and would be planted with trees. So if I just return to that slide there. So the key matters are obviously set out in your report at the usual place, paragraph 6.1. The report goes into detail and reviews the planning history, which, as we know, is a material consideration. In common with the Geary Area Committee decision, the DPEA, so the reporter who dealt with the appeal, also felt that the previously refused layout would have had an adverse impact on the residents of Hillhead Croft. The reporter also felt that the proposal would conflict with MPF 4 Policy 13, which seeks to promote sustainable modes of transport. So as can be seen on this slide, the revised scheme has sought to address these issues by firstly reducing the holiday lodges from 18 to 13, introducing, as I said, that sort of central spine road running north to south through the site, siting all of the touring pitches on the west side. So everything's going to be on this side of that spine road. And the siting of the holiday lodges away from the shared boundary with Hillhead Croft. The closest ones are now these 2 at the bottom here, and these are between 17 and 20 metres from that shared boundary with Hillhead Croft. Obviously, the introduction of that landscape buffer also seeks to deal with some of the concerns of the previous reasons for refusal, and they've also introduced some electric vehicle charging points at the top here and some cycle storage. It is considered that these are all positive measures that seek to address the reasons for refusal and would seek to reduce the potential impact on the amenity of the residents of Hillhead Croft. So having just outlined what those changes are, I'll now consider the usual suite of issues. So firstly, the principle. Just to remind members that this was not a matter that was cited in the previous reason for refusal. As set out at paragraph 6.9, MPF policy 29, which is rural development, and our own policy R2 both apply to this type of proposal, and they allow for the intensification of an established use, but that is provided that that intensification is of a suitable scale and form. Policies that deal with tourism-based developments are also applicable, and again, are generally supportive of the growth of that industry, provided it is of appropriate scale. NPF 4 Policy 30, which is the tourism one, sets out a number of criteria that must be considered, and these are all set out in the report from paragraph 613 onwards. The Planning Service is content that the development generally complies with MPF 4 Policy 30, but acknowledges there are limited opportunities for sustainable travel, given that the location of the site is obviously preset. It's an expansion of an existing site, and it is a sort of rural location. These factors are also acknowledged by the reporter in her appeal decision summation. It is the view of the Planning Service that the principle of the site extension remains acceptable, and we'll now consider the sort of site-specific matters. In terms of layout, siting, and design, I've highlighted the key changes, so I won't rehearse those. The proposed amenity building is sited up in this top corner. As I showed on that slide there, it's a simple pitched roof design, and equally the holiday lodges are fairly simple in design and form and considered appropriate for the setting. The layout includes that central spine road, which takes the more permanent elements of the development away from the shared boundary with Hillhead Croft, with the exception of these two at the bottom. But as I said, they're, I think, 13 metres from the shared boundary at that point. The inclusion of the landscape buffer as well is also welcome. The intent of that is to create some privacy and additional screening and a degree of separation. So overall, the revised layout and the design of the more permanent elements of the development are considered to be acceptable and in accordance with the development plan. And it's the view of the Planning Service that these revisions adequately address the previous reasons for refusal. Linked to this is obviously residential amenity. The revisions have sought to respond to the issues that led to the previous reason for refusal. The resiting of infrastructure away from Hillhead Croft and that landscape buffer will reduce the impact on the amenity of the residents of that property. With respect to the landscape buffer, this has been considerably strengthened. The previous scheme complies of a row of trees on that boundary. The new buffer is, or the proposed buffer is around 20 metres in width along, so at this part it's about 20 metres, and then as the site sort of tapers at the bottom, I think that just reduces to between 11 and 15 metres. And that slide there just shows a little bit more detail. There will be a sort of smaller hedge that bounds the site as well to try and limit people sort of getting into that and using that area. Means of access was also considered in the previous decisions. It's my understanding that Hillhead Croft takes its access from the site's western point of access, which is this one here, and this is Hillhead Croft, so that the residents there can move in and out to their property. On this point, the supporting statement that's been submitted with the application advises that they intend to install a no entry sign here, so that site guests wouldn't enter the site from that point. They would need to enter the site here and then work their way around through a one-way system. That said, the residents of Hillhead Croft would still be able to come and go using this means of access here. This is a civil matter, but obviously the applicant has made us aware of their intent with respect to signage and the one-way system, and it's not a matter that colleagues in roads development have raised any objection to. Clearly, the homeowner at Hillhead Croft will witness change, but it is the view of the planning service that the revisions made to the layout are acceptable, and they are a practical and well-considered response to the previous reason for refusal. As I alluded at the beginning of the presentation, the DPEA's dismissal of the previous scheme did indicate that she held the view that the development was in part contrary to MPF 4 policy 13, which relates to sustainable transport. As I said, the site is accessed by local road network. It is accessible by foot and cycling, and to some extent by public transport if you arrived at Kintore train station. The report does say that there's likely to be a reliance on private cars, obviously for grocery trips or accessing other tourist amenities in the area. And obviously some of these are motorhome caravan touring points, so you'll need a car by virtue of the fact that that's what they are. The reporter does say there's likely to be that increase in vehicles, but she does acknowledge that this is an existing site and access to public transport isn't sort of governed by the applicant. This is a third parties would need to provide that. The proposal does introduce some electric vehicle charging points, and there is some cycle storage as well, which are all considered to be positive measures to try and encourage the use of more sustainable modes of transport. As I've said, it is an extension to an existing site. To some extent, opportunities for sustainable travel are preset, and that some are determined by third parties, which the report acknowledges. So matters relating to noise, landscape, drainage, waste management and biodiversity are all considered in the report, and have been subject to appropriate consultations and found to be acceptable, subject to conditions. So just to conclude, having regard to the planning history and the changes made in the revised application, it is the view of the planning service that the changes made are positive. Number of lodges has been reduced and their siting has been changed to move away from that shared boundary with Hillhead Croft. There are limited opportunities to create sustainable travel. This is acknowledged by the reporter as well in her decision. Development will bring change to the occupants living in Hillhead Croft, but the planning survey holds the view that the changes are on balance acceptable. So the application is recommended for approval. I will just run through a couple of photos just to remind members of where we are. So this is the existing the easternmost access off Old Hall Forest Road, which would be the way in to the site. And this is the obviously the opposite one where guests would leave the site, but this is open to the residents of Hillhead Croft to come and go both ways. This is the existing western access, so you can see the existing sort of motorhome touring pitches at the top of the site. This is at the top of the site looking down the way. So this is essentially the application site, and you can just make out sort of white boxes here, which is the caravan storage area right at the southern end of the applicant's land ownership. These trees, hedges here are on the boundary with Hillhead Croft at its northernmost part. And this is looking at Hillhead Croft. This field here is the application site. Existing playground, existing touring pitches, so they're at the top. And this is just the internal road within the site. And this is the potential pedestrian access at the south of the site that could be used as an alternative means to getting into Kintor. So that concludes my presentation, and obviously happy to take questions as and when required. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Helen. Invite members then to do that very thing, ask questions. Councillor Reid, you're first. Hi, morning.
Morning, Chair. Thank you very much, and Helen, thank you very much for the presentation. Some of this is quite welcome. I have a question regarding the access. You did say that roads had no objection, etc. Said it was a civil matter, blah blah blah. But if you remember, and if other members remember, there was a huge concern of the access point last time an application came forward. They say they're going to put up a no entry sign, and they say it's going to be a one-way system. This needs to be enforceable. There needs to be, in my opinion, it should be a condition. So can we condition this? Because the last plan would see cars and visitors accessing and driving straight into, basically towards their house, and headlights shining straight in there. So I have concerns about that, and I want to see what kind of protections we can put in this application. Should it be approved, I would think there needs to be some kind of condition on the one-way system and the no entry sign. Also about the landscaping, last time it was viewed to be quite permeable, etc. I know there are concerns about the management of it. I don't know how if there's anything we can do about that. Obviously, it's a much better buffer strip this time, etc. But if you can maybe talk about that, and yeah, that's all it is just now.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Reid.
Sorry,
Councillor.
Yeah, no, it's a couple of things for you. I was going to ask a similar question about the access road, so I'll just throw it into the mix and get the answers at the same time. It's going to be a one-way system using the easterly entrance, across the way, and westerly exit out. But for Hillhead Croft, they can use it to come in and out quite rightly to their own house. Is that not going to be very confusing at best, if not dangerous, for the visitors who think it's a one-way road, but they'll meet cars coming towards them?
Okay. Yes, that is the understanding, and just to be clear to everyone else, is that guests would come in here. There would be signage here that says one way. They can access the rest of the site there, and then when they're coming out, they need to go out of the western point. So Roads Development haven't objected to that arrangement. I take the point, Councillor Gifford, that if you're perhaps leaving the site and the homeowners from Hillhead Croft are coming in, then that could potentially be a point of confusion. I think it really comes back to the management of the site, that they need to make guests aware that this arrangement is in place, and that they could face a vehicle from Hillhead Croft using that road in a two-way manner. So I think there does need to be some management sort of that from the site operators. I think, going back to Councillor Reid's point, that there isn't a condition requiring the signage. So I think we if members are minded to support this, I would suggest that was an additional condition. But I think it's difficult for the planning service to enforce a one-way system, but I think we could definitely secure signage. But it really comes down to the sort of on-site management of the operators. They need to make guests aware that this is in place. But I think the most we could do would be to secure the signage to try and make it clear to guests that is the arrangement. Councillor Reid, I think you had a second element, didn't you? And I haven't written it down. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay.
protection of the shelter belt.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, so as we can see, the buffer is a lot bigger, and it probably can't make out on that landscaping plan, but there is a sort of hedge that would be planted along the edge of this, a beech hedge that would act more as a barrier. So as that grows, obviously you wouldn't necessarily be able to get over there into this to use it more freely. So that's the intent there as well. So there would be a hedge planted to act as a sort of softer barrier, if you like, to try and deter people from using that space.
Is that okay?
Thanks so
Glenn?
much, Helen. Oh, sorry, can I just come back slightly?
Yeah, go on.
Can you perhaps think of a wording or something? I mean, I'm struggling here a little bit straight away, because it was the residents of Hillhead Croft had huge concerns about cars driving straight up at winter, headlights into their living room every time. You know, when they were coming to the caravan park. There must be a way that we can actually condition it. If they have put in a plan that says that they are going to put a one-way system in, and they intend a one-way system, they intend a no entry sign at this point, then we must be able to find a way to condition that. That's their intention. That's what we're looking at. And if they were to, I'm not suggesting they will, but if they were to then not do that after it, it completely changes this planning application.
Okay. I think there would be an opportunity then to perhaps look at the wording of something like that. So you would want details of a one-way sort of traffic management system and signage. So I think we could do something along those lines, and that it probably would be enforceable on reflection. So if members were minded, I think that's a reasonable condition that would pass the tests to secure that detail.
Yeah,
as I said, there is a reliance on the management of the site as well, making sure that everything's in place. But I think that would be an appropriate means of dealing with it.
Thanks, Helen.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, Councillor Grant, you're next. Murray.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Helen. I've got a few questions. I don't know if you want them one at a time or.
It's always easier, but yeah, let's go
one
for
at a
that.
time.
Okay. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. First one, pretty straightforward. It mentions that the cafe to be used during peak season. Is there any particular definition for that, or is it just assumed to be spring to autumn or the summer months?
Yeah, maybe just Easter to October. I suppose it differs, doesn't it? But that would be my sort of thoughts. I don't think a guest would be able to go there in December probably and get a coffee, but it's probably sort of Easter to October, I would imagine.
That's great, thanks. Yeah. Looking back at the previous application, a central part of the rejection was focused on the amenity of the residents, and you've stated that with the new plans that the amenity is no longer affected to that degree, and we'll probably come back to that later on. There's a reference in the item presented by planning, and also in the objection to the statement of demand for usage. Is there any detail that you can summarise? Because there's a bit of dispute about how much demand there would be for the extra caravans.
Thank you, Councillor. I mean, I can only say what's in the report. That there's some documentation. I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, there's a demand statement from the applicant that's summarised it in the usual 2.16, where they've said there's a sort of lack of other sites in the area, that they're offering a sort of mix of permanent lodges and sort of touring homes, and they've provided data from Visit Scotland as well. But I can only say what's there. It was something that the reporter had picked up on as well. So I think this statement has been strengthened to look at that. But yeah, like most reports, we would take it on sort of face value, that there is a demand for this, and that they've sought to sort of look at the previous reasons for refusal, sorry, the previous comments that the reporter made on that point as well, and try and address that.
Thanks. Yeah, I suppose it'd be difficult to quantify to any degree of certainty. The next question, it was just about traffic, page 51, 6.3. It refers to the DPA report expects there to be a significant proportion of trips made by private vehicle. And I'm just looking to reconcile this with the opinion of VIS Roads on page 49, 4.6, which states that an increase in traffic was significant. And in your presentation, you just mentioned it probably would be, I mean, obviously, since there's more caravans there, you know, an increase in vehicular traffic. Which is it more likely to be? Is it likely to be more significant or insignificant or?
Okay, obviously the nature of this means that there will be vehicles
Yes,
coming
yeah.
here, and the reporter acknowledged that, and she also said that the way in which people will travel from the site, they might go and visit another tourist attraction, or they may go and, you know, do a grocery shop, is highly likely to be using a vehicle. So there is an acknowledgement of that. The position of our own roads development colleagues is that they don't object to this proposal on sort of traffic grounds. The view is that Old Hall Forest Road is sufficient to accommodate the likely movements, whether that's someone arriving at the site or going off for the day and coming back, so that there will be additional movements, but they are not anticipated to be at a level that will cause a road safety or a traffic problem.
Okay, thanks. So second last one, almost there. Page 69, condition 10 regarding the maintenance of the enclosed planted buffer zone, which is mandated for 10 years. And in the submission from the objector, the resident of Hillhead Croft, he makes reference to a previous mandated zone for 10 years, which was no longer maintained beyond that time. Is 10 years a sort of maximum limit, or could it be made a planning condition in perpetuity? But what's the guidance on that?
Just bear with me. So it's condition, what number did you say? 10?
Page 69, condition 10, and then Mr.
Okay.
Fraser's objection, it did mention how a previous requirement, I think it was in 2011, for landscaping to be maintained for 10 years, and it wasn't maintained beyond that.
Right, okay. Yes, so condition 10 is our sort of standard approach to landscaping, and we have had a review of our standard conditions over the last year. So any planting within a 10-year period that might die or is damaged, that the site operator needs to, you know, replace that dead tree or something along those lines. So for that 10-year period, they need to make sure that any dying, damaged or diseased plants are replaced. And then you can see in the last sentence of that condition, all landscaping work shall thereafter be permanently retained. So if there was at any point, if there was any sort of wholesale removal of this landscape buffer, it would be a breach of that condition. We would have to decide whether we're going to use our enforcement powers to deal with that. But the wording has probably been revised slightly, just learning from previous incidents where we are now seeking that retention more permanently.
That's great. Thanks, Helen. And the last one, it was it's a matter raised by Mr. Fraser that a new caravan would cover his water pipe and electricity supply cable. What's the view of the planning service? So, you know, regarding that in terms of access and repairs that might be done or required.
I would advise members that that is a private civil matter.
So it's not a material planning consideration, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If there's an issue, then that is to be resolved between the two parties. It's not a matter for any planning decision.
That's great. Thanks. That's all my questions for just now. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Murray. Trevor, you're next. Thanks, Mason.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was just the exit road. How wide is that? Is that just a single track road? Because it's going to cause a lot of problems. I mean, this has been brought up with Earthborg, but it's just the fact that there's only if someone's coming out and the people in Hillhead Croft are coming in, how would they pass?
Thank you, Councillor. I don't know the width of it offhand. This is image here is that, oh, excuse me, is that particular route. So there's an opportunity to pass, but I think you would need to make eye contact with the approaching driver and acknowledge that maybe it is quite narrow. But I mean, those points would only be when the residents of the existing bungalow are moving through the site. I wouldn't anticipate that to be a huge amount of movement. Equally, it's fairly modest site. I don't anticipate there to be huge amounts of vehicles moving along there. So it's probably I don't know the dimension. The image there shows the width. It would need some eye contact with oncoming drivers just to pull over. But perhaps the applicant can speak to that point.
There doesn't seem to be any space to go to the side, to pass. But just a point there.
Yep.
We need to get around. The other thing was the buffer zone. It's 20 meters. However, at the base of the picture, sorry, the end of the garden of the hillhead crop, it goes down to there's one point it's actually at 12 meters. Is there any reason why we're not keeping the 20-meter buffer zone all the way around?
Yeah, let me just go back to that slide. That one, yeah, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't zoom in, but it's probably just the way these vans here are sort of tapered, if you like, just because they're sitting parallel to this spur road. So it's probably just the arrangement there. If they were to retain a 20-meter gap here, you'd probably need to knock out one of those. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, it does reduce in depth here, but I'd probably just highlight that this point is at the bottom end of that garden associated with the domestic property. So it's the furthest point away from the house itself, but I acknowledge it's obviously a well-used long garden. But yeah, it's just the way that the layout has been put forward is why that is a slightly narrower landscape buffer.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep the buffer zone the right size. That's what we need to do. Thanks. Okay, Jared. Okay, thanks. Okay, Councillor Kitty, you next, David.
Thanks, Jim. Only three, Helen.
Okay.
Others have managed to get a few of my thoughts. I think on 613, the reporter suggests that it's only minor employment and supply chain benefits. And this is a reduced scale, therefore there's less people coming in because there's fewer issues. And yet the supporting statement argues that it's better than that. And I just wonder, is there any rationale for why, with less people coming, the supporting statement somehow thinks the reporter got it wrong? Because I'll be honest, I'm kind of tended to minor. I would agree with the reporter recognising where that site is. But that's my first question. Does the supporting statement that argues there's a better economic input, does it give any justification, or is it just assertion?
I don't know if I think, is the applicant going to be speaking? I don't know if that's something we could bring them in.
Okay, that's fine. No, if I can get
sorry,
not just then.
Okay, that's right. I'll ask that then. So the second one is around about the landscaping, Helen. So you mentioned trees, but then I think if I look at, and by the way, I think it's really welcome in that it's clearly the site has taken on board, the proposal taken on board a lot of the feedback we gave last time, the reporter's comments, the barriers there. I think they can all see that. But it's just, I think if I look at 6.46, it says that it will give, where am I finding it? Completely enclosed hedging, which will be established and provide a protected buffer straight away. So straight away is quite soon in my book. And then condition 10, it talks about having a shed. The plan has to be agreed for the landscaping activity and specifically the scheduling. So will the scheduling be as part of the plan we approve, And I just, again, it might be talking to the applicant here, what does straight away mean? Because obviously an existing hedge is coming out, there will be work. So how quickly will the screening take hold? That's my second question. And again, I feel you might be telling me to ask the applicant.
Well, I mean, the quoted paragraph 6.46 is directly from
Yeah.
the planning statement, so it does say straight away. I mean, a beech hedgerow you could plant, a metre high, but there'd be certain gaps in between it for it to establish. So, in terms of a buffer, I suppose it would be there would be a physical thing there. There would be a beech hedgerow planted that may deter some people from using it, but it isn't going to provide a sort of screening or a solid hedgerow straight away, because that's just not the way a hedge grows. So the planning report acknowledges that this is a much better landscaping approach, but there are going to be, by virtue of the fact that it's landscaping, it is going to take a while to establish and sort of have its real benefits. But that's the same with any sort of landscaping that we secure. I'm not sure, Councillor Keating, I've just rambled.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. You pretty much said what I had in my head, but you just
right, okay,
that's all right. But just to be clear though, so that the approved planting scheme with the agreed timescale will be one of the things that's approved by the planning service before the commencement of development. So
that is right, yeah.
That's fine. And the final one is really easy, he says cheerfully. Condition 3, the touring caravan area will be used for short-term holiday use. What's a short term?
Condition 3. Just bear with me. So
It's going.
3, touring caravan area. It maybe could be a bit strengthened, I suppose. Short term is open to debate, I suppose, which is why you've raised the point.
Yes.
The condition does have some wording there to say, we want an up-to-date register, so we would secure details of if someone was staying for 2 or 3 nights, or if they were maybe staying longer than that, then that might not necessarily fall into a short-term holiday use. It's difficult to sort of build anything in where we're trying to limit someone to maybe only 7 nights. It just becomes quite challenging to enforce. But I take the point that perhaps short-term holiday use could be defined a little bit better for the purpose of the condition being precise and meeting the test. So
you know me well, Helen. You know me well.
If members reminded, then perhaps we could that could perhaps be a delegated matter, and we could look at something to define that a little bit more for the intent of why the condition is set.
Yeah, I think that'd be useful for the applicant as well, because then they will know what it is we're planning on having the short term. So I think it's beneficial for everybody. So thank you. Well, if the rest of the committee agrees, I would like that to be definitely. Thank you. That's me.
Okay, thank you. That sounds as I'm sure we've had that in the past. A specification 6 weeks comes to mind. Maybe just confusing it with something else, but I think we can leave that for Helen and the service to take away. I see no other hands asking questions of Helen, so you get a chance to catch your breath, Helen.
Can I just come? Sorry, Councillor. Can I just come back? I can't remember which councillor it was. Asked about just the width of the access coming out. Yeah, so I've just measured it. So it's 4 meters in width. So apologies.
That's not a standard 2-lane road, then, is it?
No, it's this bit here where my pointer is. That bit there is 4 meters in width. So the image that I had on the that one. Oh, sorry. That one, yeah. So across there is 4 meters.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, still no hands up, so which one?
Long shape. Oh, sneaked it up.
You sneaked onto the top of my screen, Dominic. Come on in.
Thank you, Chair. I want to come back on your short-term holiday use. Yes, indeed, that subject has come before. I do understand that short-term holiday use can be up to 50 weeks a year, because after that it becomes residence. Maybe I'm wrong. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've agreed we'll let the service go in, come back with a suggested wording.
That's right. Somebody should find out. Thanks.
The delegation. Okay, thank you for that. Okay then, so we have request to speak, as we've agreed already. So I can invite Helen Sutherland, who's the applicant, to come up and join us. We'll go through the preamble on this. Good morning.
Morning.
So
That's what you've done to yourself.
Trapped in a molehill on my own grass.
these moles can be vicious beasts.
Yeah, definitely are.
Okay, I'm glad you made it. So in line with the guidance you've received in
Yeah.
the public participant meeting protocol, that's a great statement.
Yeah.
Please do not speak unless I invite you to do so, and please do not interrupt the other speakers. If you do so, you may be removed from the meeting. We don't like doing that. You have up to 5 minutes to speak. After that, our members may ask questions, and then we'll be entitled to stay in the meeting, but we will not be entitled to speak again. So we can ask you to address the meeting. You have 5 minutes. If you want, I'll give you a warning at 1 minute to go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Please
you.
carry on.
Right, my name is Helen Sutherland. I'm the owner of Hillhead Caravan Park, Benview and Broom Hills. So I have 3 caravan parks. I was brought up as a gypsy. Unfortunately, there's no gypsy phobia yet. I grew up as a gypsy in a caravan all my life, but I wanted a different life for my children, and I was good at business. So I had garages. I lived in a small village for 45 years. I haven't even had a parking ticket unless my son got it in my name. I've always been in the highest tax bracket, and this plan has went 3 times with recommendation for approval with the council. I've worked hard to build this business so that my son and his family can have a better life than I did. During COVID, I had no funding, even though I had 2 park wardens and a part-time secretary pay because they had bills. We have 2 residential plots left, one in Benview and one in Hillhead, and after that there's no sales. So holiday homes are essential to keep this business going. Holiday homes is hard work. We do not finish sometimes 10 o'clock at night. We have 9 holiday lets on Benview, which are doing very well. People love our doing site, and the only complaints we ever have are to do with the toilet and shower block, which is kept clean, but it's old, outdated, and too far from the touring site or disabled visitors. In Aberdeen, we have a failing fishing industry. We're the oil capital of Europe and have no jobs. Tourism is a main income for Scotland, and that's why the council supported this recommendation. The village benefits. The butchers do their barbecue parks, local takeaways, of which we have menus and recommend to our visitors. We have international visitors who have camper vans from the airport and are given maps and leaflets for whisky and castle trails and other areas of interest. We have always lived in a village and we could sell essentials on site. But I know if you don't use, you lose it. So a village needs to have a business. I regularly donate to our local community, and I'm proud of the village we live in. We're the only park in Aberdeenshire area that accepts tents, and a family of 4 can stay for a weekend for just £50. We're a 4-star with Touring Scotland and with AA, and the only reason we're not a 5-star is due to the toilet block. People love camping holidays, but now find it wanting more luxury lodges and up-to-date amenities. There is very little accommodation in this area, yet we have approximately 10,000 visitors or more a year. I've only ever used local businesses to use the site and work. DE Mackey, Contour, Road Signs, Contour, iProtect, Contour. I try to listen to real complaints, not excuses. This house in question, Hillhead Croft, you can't buy a house on a caravan park and complain. It's like buying a house near a train line and complaining about the trains. This holiday park is self-sufficient. We do not require public services. We have our own waste, we have our own sewage treatment plant, and our own electricity supply. Our holiday homes are all short-term lets. We have a log available from our booking agents, Four Seasons, Airbnb, and lastminute.com. The original Park House was sold before I took over the business. It's a beautiful cottage, but it's landlocked. Everything has to go through the front door to their garden. Even the sewage tank to be emptied. The well which supplies the house with water is on my property that I have to keep and maintain. Any maintenance to the house or the roof I have to access through my property, which I've never denied. My water was also on the well, but due to no pressure, I went into the mains. I offered Grace Croft, the house owner, the option to go into the mains for free, declined. I offered them a driveway where that buffer zone is, declined.
It's less than a minute.
Sorry, the same for the treatment plant. And I've offered them to go into the treatment plant, declined. I made the site a one-way system, which Andy Barron knows because of their headlights. He also made them pull it out after he was on it, asked for it. I made the site one-way systems to stop disturbance. The house is sold 2 times. However, we understand that it's unmortgageable due to its location. Our proposal do not change that. I believe this planning expansion will be crucial to keep the site running, order both from a financial and a tourism point of view for Aberdeenshire.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. Let you catch your breath.
Sorry,
No,
I'm nervous.
No, look, that's absolutely fine. Are members got any questions? So if you can lead a question.
I did have 2, but you've answered one in your speech already. So I'll take your point about takeaways on the butcher.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
Okay.
I know the ones you mean. So it's just the I think the landscaping fund, which, as I say, clearly addresses the concerns of the reporter and ourselves last time. I think it says straight away what I think Helen and I kind of think beachheads take a bit. So what straight away? What's your thought for putting this in with regard to the construction as well?
Well, we will buy mature.
Yeah.
And do the best we can to put it in. In fact, I would start that before we even done the development.
Okay, so that would be something that Helen can put in the plan then and the schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's answered my question.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else got questions? If not, I'll let me ask for myself. There was mention in the presentation about the electricity supply, water supply running under where the proposal is going to be, going to the croft. Is that covered with a servitude? I know in my own situation, my neighbour and I have a servitude, so I get access rights to my septic tank system across his land. Does such a servitude exist between your field and croft?
No. The croft has its own supply, but we have electric, we have a shed with electric, so it would come up the field, our field, so we wouldn't be sharing it with the croft, wouldn't affect the croft at all.
No, but it's more that, that said in the presentation there that the building work will be over the top of their supply. If they need to maintain it, they won't be able to get at it because there's caravans.
Yeah. No, I would give them access, but I don't see how the electric can be under my field.
Okay, maybe ask.
Yeah, no, I don't see how the electric supply can be under my field.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe.
But if so, we would make a way. We'd leave a space so obviously people can get in.
Yeah, it's just how we build that into a design here that makes that so. Okay. We'll come back to that. Okay, let's see any other hands coming up. In which case, thanks very much indeed. I know it's not easy coming along to speak to us.
It's stressful, and especially as you're so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have tried everything to make this better. I understand why people would be annoyed. If your house wasn't mortgageable, you're trapped in that land, you sold it twice. I understand. I have no hard feelings. I've tried everything to make their life more comfortable. It's not about a buffer zone. It's not about a road. He's trapped in a situation he doesn't want to be in. And if I could get him out and let him go and be happy, I would.
Right,
but I can't.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we have a second speaker, Callum Fraser. I'll repeat the same statement to you, Callum. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so you've got the guidance you received on the public participation meeting protocol. Please don't speak unless we invite you to do so, and do not interrupt any other speakers. If you do so, we'll remove you from the meeting. You've up to 5 minutes as before, and after that we'll ask members of any questions, and then we'll ask you to go back onto the mute again. So if you want to start, and again, I'll give you a 1 minute warning on your 5 minutes, okay?
Okay. Right, folks, good morning. I'll stick to the main points. The application is essentially the same as the previously refused application, only a wee bit further away from the house. This is hoped to make the application, and I will quote, less unacceptable to the councillors and the Scottish Reporter. Less unacceptable does not mean that it is acceptable. Far from it. We'd still be totally surrounded by the caravan park, and the reasons for refusal remain exactly the same. Landscape planting's been increased this time round. I need to remind you all that the applicants have ignored all previous requirements for landscape planting, and despite complaints to council, nothing's ever been done. They ripped out more than 90% of the screening and landscaping planting for the previous lodge development, and as it was over 10 years ago, the landscaping condition was no longer enforceable. It'll take 10 years for any planting to grow to a useful size, after which point the applicant can just cut them down. Now, I believe there is going to be a condition in on that, so that one may well be slightly better. But the landscaping, which is the only condition offered by the planners to alleviate our loss of amenity and privacy, is basically materially useless at that point. The buffer area where the planting is to take place does not have any real status. Is it a garden, wildlife reserve, dog walk area, ball games area? As applicants will retain total control of this area, there can be no assurance that it will not be used for some other purpose, which will affect the amenity of Hillhead Croft. It cannot be said to offer any protection whatsoever. The reporter already commented on the transparent nature of deciduous planting, and despite the planners quoting this same comment several times, they still contend that it's acceptable. I disagree. The road is a huge point of contention, which the planners say is a legal matter. No entry signs at the end of the drive, which I have a legal right to use, would not be acceptable. And as such, I would have to take legal action against this. I would also have to take legal action regarding access to my water supply pipes and cables, which do indeed run under the ground across to the well through this land. Just to clarify that point. This being the case, I would have to take a third legal action should the planning be approved, to try and get back the value which I have lost from this house due to this application. The house has indeed been recently found to be unmortgageable. This is because of the application, no other reason. If this was still a greenfield site beside us, there would be no problem whatsoever. But because this application is due to surround us, major mortgage lenders are just not going to touch it. This is liable to be a six-figure sum of money that we're going to lose on this property. So we would have to start legal proceedings immediately, should this be granted. Please ask yourselves if you became a councillor to assist individuals to strong-arm others into a legally defensive position for their own ends, or if instead you hoped to defend against these kinds of things and protect the individuals who, through no fault of their own, have had to defend their homes against them. I need to point out that we were in the middle of this croft when we bought the house 30 years ago. The caravan park was a tiny park at the back. It's only since the current applicants have taken ownership that it's been built round about us. So we didn't buy a house in the middle of a caravan park. We bought a house in the countryside. Right, no demand for these lodges. Still can't sell the ones in Kemney, although they're renting them out and they're only a couple of miles away. There's no demand for extra touring places. The site has had the same levels of occupation since we've lived here, and it's only ever full for 1 or 2 weekends in the high summer. Aside from the 4 semi-permanent residents currently on the touring site, dribs and drabs of tourists continue to arrive and depart in their 1s and 2s. If you want more tourists, you need tourist attractions, which are very widely spaced in Aberdeenshire, and certainly nowhere near a field just outside Kintour.
That's 1 minute,
If there
Mr.
was a
Fraser.
demand for places, a local farmer or two would already have opened another caravan site by now. They might even have asked for permission first. The amenity building, which is said to be the focus for the entire site, thereby attracting all the traffic currently going to the reception building. This would include all the vans associated with the applicant's other businesses, which seem to parade through the site daily. In summary, the planners had their homework marked by the Scottish Reporter last time out, and there was a lot of red pen in it. Despite that, they are making the same mistakes again, and I hope that we get the same result from the councillors. Please reject this application as it clearly does not meet with the local plan or policies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And you're precisely on 5 minutes, so well done with that. Again, colleagues, any questions for Mr. Fraser? Councillor Launchy, Dominic.
Thank you, Chair. It's a question for the planning advisor. The resident has cited loss of value, unmortgageable property, financial considerations, planning.
Councillor Launchy, it's questions only to the speaker at the moment.
Okay, thank you. I'll keep
If you
it.
hold that, you'll get the opportunity to speak to the planning officer later.
Merci.
Thank you, Alison. Yeah, hold that thought, Dominic. Okay, Councillor Grant Murray.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Fraser. Just to pick up, I mean, this is directed to you about the property being unmortgageable. Is that on the basis that the decision on the application is pending, or would you see that as being the case if the application was granted and the works were constructed? Thanks.
Our selling solicitors have researched this quite thoroughly because they were as shocked about it as we were. They reckon that it is, yes, they're waiting to see if their application is granted, but also, should it be granted, they reckon that this condition would persist, leaving us looking for basically a cash buyer at a much reduced amount. Obviously,
Mr. Fraser, can I cut across you? Apologies for cutting across. We're only discussing the planning matters here. All the things that are civil legal matters are, are interesting enough, but not part of our decision making. Our solicitor would maybe like to just reinforce that. Jill?
Thank you, Councillor Gifford. Just agree with what you've said, that wouldn't be a relevant matter for councillors who are determining the planning application today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My fault for asking that.
No,
question.
that's okay. Right, well, okay. I see no other questions. I did ask the previous speaker, Mr. Fraser, you probably heard the point you raised about your electricity and water supply being under the field where the caravans are going to be. Do you have, is there servitude already in place? I know it's a civil matter, but that would be some bearing, I would have thought, on the design that we're looking at.
yes, the servitude is in place. It is in Mrs. Sutherland's title deeds and also in mine. So yes, if you go and dump a caravan on top of it or a big tarred road, I would have rights to access it, but obviously you're not going to be able to knock the caravan down to reach your pipe, are you?
Maybe ask about that. I mean, I don't know whether it has any bearing on the layout and design of the site.
Thank you, Chair. I think Helen could possibly come in. I don't think it would have, it's a civil matter as well. Bringing Helen.
Yeah. Helen,
yeah, just to yes, it is a civil matter. So whether someone has a legal right or the servitudes to do anything, build a development, then they are not matters for the planning service or the area committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Councillor Reid, Klein.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks for the presentation. Actually, sorry, it's just going back to Helen on that one kind of thing. So, you know, when national infrastructure such as like gas lines, gas pipes, etc., you can't build around it, but there, I know this is not national infrastructure quite clearly, but surely there must be some kind of like right for, you know, if there's pipes there already, that they can't actually build on top of them because they can't access them. I know you're saying it's a civil thing, but surely if we're considering a planning application which clearly states it's going to go over this and create a legal problem, whereas before in other matters we wouldn't actually be allowed to grant planning applications, you know, if there's pipes under there for national things. What's the difference? Why is it different, if not different?
I don't think, thank you, Councillor Reid, I don't think there is a difference. If there's a legal restriction, servitude, anything else, that would be governed by other legislation, by other acts. It is not for the planning service to enforce the legislation of, I don't know, environmental acts or energy infrastructure acts, that they are controlled by others. So, you know, I could get planning permission to build something in my next door neighbour's garden. Whether he gives me permission to do that is for me to worry about. It's not for the decision maker to be concerned about. So totally understand the concerns and worries of the area committee and obviously of the applicant and the homeowner, but these are not matters for the planning service to be concerned about. They are matters that are legislated by other regulations.
Okay, thank you for that. Give people a chance. More questions? Seeing none. Okay, in that case, Mr. Fraser, thank you very much for coming along this morning. You're obviously allowed to participate in the meeting and but no longer able to speak. But we shall now move on. Okay, can I just check any members have got any further questions for the planning officer at this stage? Or Helen's any comment you would like to make on the back of the two presentations?
For me, just sorry, Councillor. Just I think Jill.
Councillor Grant's get his hand up first.
Okay.
Murray.
Sticky keys there. Sorry, it was a question for Helen, but does Helen have any summing up to do first? I can wait.
Well, ask your questions and we may get wrapped up in the same thing.
Yes, sorry, it was just to clarify, perhaps with input from Jill, it was just on the basis of the comments made. I'm coming back to the notion of amenity for the residents of Hillhead Croft. If any of the comments made would have any bearing on the consideration of amenity regarding the value of the property and saleability.
Yeah, for me, just to reiterate to all that those matters are not planning considerations, so you should not judge a loss of property value as an amenity issue for that homeowner. We should be looking at amenity as more residential amenity, overshadowing privacy, loss of light, those sort of matters. For both presentations, there was quite a lot of content that was not planning, and I'm sure members are aware of what that is, but loss of property value, access rights, things like that are not things that the determining body should be swayed by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Helen, is there anything else you want to say as a wrap?
No, I'm fine. Thank you, Councillor Gifford. Thank you.
Okay. Can I just check then that members are all satisfied that they have sufficient information to proceed and determine this application in front of us today? If not, please indicate.
I don't know if Councillor Launchy wants to come back in. He did indicate he wanted to ask a question of the planning officer.
Well remembered, Alison. Dominic, you've still got a question.
Sorry?
Do you still have your question?
No, basically, I do believe that financial and civil matters are not planning considerations. However, I would like to say that we are considering today a planning application for a site which has a long planning application history. So whilst we have to consider a case on its own merit on the day, we should take into consideration the history in this particular site. I find that there are other material considerations which are related to this site which have not been discussed, and for those reasons I would like to propose a site visit to be able to put everything in to consider absolutely all parts of this application, and maybe I'll seek a second. Thank you.
Chair, can I just get clarity actually what the councillor wants to see on site? That I think I need something more than that for the purpose of the site visit, the reason.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, basically, we had a site visit for the planning application which was refused a couple of years ago. It's to put everything into perspective, to see if anything has improved, particularly forest road access. There is no pedestrian path and those type of things, which I believe are planning considerations, material considerations, which should be considered.
Okay. Yeah,
As well, of course, as within the site itself, I have got some concerns about what has been proposed as the two-way access for the resident of Hillcroft, for the Croft, and only one-way usage for. I don't think that's a proposal which would be workable, but I believe it will be only possible to realize it once we see exactly how wide the road is compared with vehicles or those type of things. So basically, I believe that, as I said, there are many related material considerations to be considered. Thank you.
So we have a proposal for a site visit, but remind members that we had a site visit not that long ago to a very similar layout.
Yeah.
For the same place. But proposal is there a seconder for councillor Launch's proposal?
We might have some shrubs which have grown. The roads might have deteriorated. There are all things that I believe we should see by ourselves.
Okay. The proposal's there. Is there a seconder? Councillor Reid.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I have some concerns as well, and if colleagues have doubts about it and need a site visit, I always back that. I know it slows the whole process down sometimes, but this is a huge application. Well, he has huge implications for the resident and maybe for the town itself. So yeah, things may have changed, and I have concerns about the road and the width of it as well. So I would certainly second Councillor Launcher.
Okay, we have a proposal for a site visit that's been duly seconded. Is there an alternative view? Seeing no indications. So, okay. In that case, we shall proceed to have a site visit, and this will come back to us in due course. With the recess getting away, that may be a wee while. So if everyone's content with that, we shall put that in train and notify everyone accordingly that the site visit will be taking place. And take matters from there.
Can I come
back up? Yeah.
Can I come back, Chair?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to ask the legal representative if it is the same rules as for the local review body, if a site visit is accompanied or non-accompanied. The difference being a non-accompanied site visit is exclusively for representatives of the council. Accompanied means that the applicants could be there to answer questions if they some were raised.
It's the latter, because we always give the opportunity for the applicant and any objectors to be there and to point out matters that are part of the application, not to ask questions, because that's for us.
No, only to answer our questions.
Correct.
Okay. Well, in that case, I would qualify it with an accompanied site visit.
Site visit's a site visit. So
we only work site visits when we in the areas. Councillor Launcher. So just to clarify, obviously committee have agreed to defer for a site visit in order that councillors can see for themselves the access arrangements, pedestrian access pathways, and any changes to the site since they have last gone on a site visit there. For the members of the public and those with an interest in this application, the information about the site visit will be posted on the council website. There is a section that will say Geary site visits, and we will try and make these arrangements within the next couple of weeks, but they were likely to take place just before the next committee in August. So there will be a delay now because we will go into the vacation period. So if you keep an eye on there, as soon as it's organised, it will appear up on the website along with any meeting points and anything that is required in there. And then the site visit will probably be arranged for just before the next meeting.
Okay, thanks for that,
Okay.
Alison. Did you catch all that, Mr. Fraser?
Mr. Fraser left the meeting some time ago.
Oh, okay. He didn't catch all that.
No.
Okay, thank you, folks. We've been on the go for a wee while now. Let's suggest a short comfort break. It is 5 past, shall we say 20 past 11, reconvene. Okay.
Okay.
And get some windows open and try and cool down a wee bit. Okay, we'll see you shortly, people.
Thank you.
Stop the recording.